Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the Drake Corsair. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, welcome back to another review. Today, the Corsair, a ship that has gone through quite a few changes over the past year, and now it's almost back to its former glory, or is it already back? Let's go ahead and take a look. Before we do, I just want to let you know, there is a giveaway going on right now, the Drake Golem LTI game pack. Look in the description below and enter into that. It ends on the 11th, so make sure you enter if you want a chance to win. Now, otherwise, I want to thank Zero Grav for helping me while he's just piloting the ship and making sure I get all the best angles. So thank you, Zero Grav, for being here and being the pilot. You're awesome. Now, taking a look at this ship here, this is the Drake Corsair. If you were to buy it, it is $250 on the Pledge Store, or if you buy it in-game, it is $6,552,000 aUEC. Now, that is definitely not a bad in-game price, and outside of the game, of course, that's always up to you. Now, taking a look, this ship is 30 meters in width, or it is 55 meters in length and 11 meters in height. It's all kind of dependent on how you have your wings folded out, of course, because when the wings are folded out, it's more like 56 meters in width and then 55 in length and so forth and so on. So it's not a small ship, but it's also not terribly huge either. When you're right next to it, this thing just feels massive, but it's a quite, decent size. It's fine. It's great. It's a fantastic ship. Let's move on. This ship does have a 17-minute claim time with a 5-minute and 40-second expedited time. Definitely not terrible to expedite this ship if you need to get it back out there in the fight as soon as possible, or if you're out there raiding someone's cargo and it ends up getting destroyed, you can get back in there as quick as you can. Now, this ship, it's had a lot of pilot changes over the past year, and when it comes to controlling those guns, but it's pretty much back to its former glory with some minor changes to what weapon sizes are there. And I'm going to talk to you about that co-pilot seat here in just a little bit, but starting off, this ship has 3,988 damage per second through that pilot seat. I did separate some of the numbers from it because it was showing over 4,000, but it's not, just because it's showing you the remote turret on the back as slaved, but it's not. I promise you, you're not going to be using that gun as the pilot. So you do have 4 size 4 M6A laser cannons and 2 size 5 M7A laser cannons on this ship stock, which is really good. The DPS is phenomenal. If you're hitting your target, then you're going to have a great time. But I will just, advise you, hitting your target's going to be the hard part with laser cannons, right? Because your maneuverability has to stack up with it, and sometimes that just doesn't happen. Now, you do have, like I said, that one remote turret that has the 2 size 2 CF227 Badgers, and then the 2 manned turrets, one on each side, with the 4 size 2 CF227 Badgers. So, again, the firepower is all there. The turret firepower is not as good as you would expect it to be, but you have 6 of those guns. So it will add up over time if you decide, or if you do get into a fight and you have all those guns manned, it adds up, right? So that is helpful when it's not just the pilot shooting the weapons. Now, you also have 8 Arrestor 3 missiles, so the pilot does have somewhat of firepower with their missiles, and you can change those out, of course, and kind of go with some different types instead of doing the Arrestor 3s, but that's a good stock option as well. Now, for defensive capability, outside of, shooting a gun, you do have one size 3 shield generator giving you 48,800 quadrant shield, which is on par with all the other ships kind of in its class. Like, you got the Constellation, you got quite a few other ships that are pretty much on par with that. There might be one or two that are way above that, kind of like the 600i, but, it just depends on what you're looking for. And the 600i is a bit bigger of a ship too, so I'm not sure if you'd want to really compare the two. And now this ship does have 91,000 ship HP, and that's where you can kind of see a big difference between this and other ships. The ship HP is dramatically lower than pretty much all of its competition, making it kind of a hard pick there if you're looking to have more survivability and not necessarily firepower, right? But on top of that, let's talk about your survivability, because this is like I said before, and almost got stuck on for a minute there. It's not a small ship. So what do you expect it to do in speed and maneuverability, right? You do have 200 SCM as a top speed, and then 400 forward boost and a 205 backwards boost with a top nav speed of 1,000. So it's really good into the fact that anything else in its class, you're pretty much right there with it. But when you're going against targets, you got to really decide what you're going to attack, right? Because you're not going to be out there fighting an arrow. You're not going to be out there fighting, any of these fighters out there, heavy, medium, light. They're all going to be a complicated target for you unless you get the jump on them, just because your speed is really slow. So they're going to be kind of going around you and circling you. And then your maneuverability sitting at a 30, 30, 60 pitch yaw roll. It's not going to help you either. This thing moves like a whale. It's a big craft, but it moves like a whale. And even when you're boosted, it's 36, 36, 72. So not much of a help there, and I'd advise staying away from any sort of intensive combat with anything smaller than you, as you would suspect, right? Now, this ship does have 116 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 5 CU of quantum fuel, which is pretty decent. A good amount of fuel in both regards. You won't have to worry about that for a long while. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ship here really quick on the interior, and then I'll give you a review score. Now, we do have the elevator here at the front, which is one of your entry points from the ground. You can go ahead and go here and press this button and call that down, and it'll come down. It'll look really nice. Fantastic ability here. And then when you get on here, you can see you can go to the mess hall, which is your main floor of the ship, or you can take it straight to the roof of the ship on the left. And it's kind of cool the way it's set up, more just using actual switches and stuff instead of weird little buttons and stuff. So I like that. The levers. Feels very Drake. Now you have another ground entrance back here, which is your ramp entrance, and this is where it leads to your cargo bay. Looks really good. It is a Drake ship in the end, but this is where you're going to fit your cargo as well as your vehicles, which you can hold a decent amount of cargo, sitting at 72 SCU of cargo room back here on the locked grid. Now you might be able to squeeze a little bit more in, but I always advise against it. Well, maybe in the future I advise against it. Now you do have your button control as well as light control here, so you can light up this ramp and everything at nighttime. Pretty nice. And you do have all your components accessible in this nice little cargo area. Is a few of them, and then the next room will have the remainder. Now you do have some fuse relays here and there scattered about, as well as your fire extinguishers, and like I said, more of your components in this room and your future engineering terminal. This is also a big exploration radar center here, so going to be pretty cool when we see that come into play. Now, if we take our way here, this is the cargo where we just came from. Now, if you go to the right, in this room here, you do have your airlock, which is not a ground entrance, but sooner or later, you will be able to dock this with another ship or potentially a station, which would be pretty cool. So I do like that. And then you have plenty of gear storage here, so you can store your gear, your weapons. Massive guns go there, like your rocket launchers or your rail guns. And then you have behind you some more gear terminal areas, store your suits and your rifles, handguns, ammunition, all right there. So pretty nice. I do like that. Now, making our way into the next room here. On the left, you're going to have 3 doors. This is where your crew stays. You have a bed, and right underneath, you have the storage for each one of them. You can go ahead and open that up by pressing F and putting whatever you need to in there, as well as more areas for your crew to store their gear. So pretty nice. Each one of these rooms are replicated to be the same, so nobody's missing out of anything there. Nothing to worry about, as you can see. looks good. Now right here is that elevator that you would typically go down to the ground or to the roof of the ship. And as you can see on the video right now, the roof of the ship does allow you to get a little bit of a vantage point if you decide to land on the ground and set yourself up for a, sniper's nest or something, or overlooking a target and scouting. Now over here you do have Zero sitting at the table. This is your kitchen and living area. This is where you're going to grab a drink, grab your utensils, grab your food, and go ahead and prep yourself some dinner. And it looks really good. It's a really nice living area, honestly, for a Drake ship. And over here, you do have a restroom, which is really nice. You have the toilet, the shower, and as well as all the abilities to take care of yourself. So it's pretty nice. And it looks good. So we'll go ahead and shut that door and give him his privacy here. And then we do have a fire extinguisher, which looks nice. When fire propagation comes into play, that'll be very interesting. Now here is one of your manned turrets. I'll go ahead and enter the turret, show you a little bit of what that firing angle looks like here, because I do know that was one of the requested things in a prior video. Hey, show us the fire angle of some of these turrets. It would be nice to see that. So here we go. Let's take a look. This firing angle, it's not going to give you the greatest coverage, but it does give you some side coverage, which is interesting. So if there's somebody strafing you around the side, you're just going to, you know what I mean? You're going to take them out from the side, hopefully hit them pretty good, but it doesn't give you full back or front coverage. So don't expect that. And that firing angle will be the same on the other side. So we'll go ahead and move on to the pilot seat area now, which is where you're going to have one more bed. And this is your captain's bed, or the pilot's bed. This is where they're going to go ahead and store their stuff right here and down here. Pretty nice little area. And then right here is your pilot seat and your co-pilot seat. So your pilot gets in right here and has a pretty decent view. It's not terrible. Let's go ahead and take a look really quick. And then I'll give you my score. And right here, you do have all your MFDs right in front of you. The view is, like I said, not terrible. Go ahead and turn on my head tracking. It is pretty decent, I'd say. You got some interesting bars in your left and right here, but hopefully that'll help protect you from any sort of incoming bullets, right? And then the seat behind me does drop below the floor, so if you were to go ahead and get into this seat, it takes you down, it drops you in. This is your co-pilot seat, where this is where you would control that remote turret, or actually take control of the front gun of the ship as well. So be careful. My advice here, do not let anybody that is co-piloting in your ship to use this seat. Leave it alone. Let the pilot have full control over their weapons, and just have your co-pilots or your gunners man the manned turrets here. That is the best case scenario. And then you have a couple more things here, like radar, which is not in yet, and more relay stations. It's got a couple relays, that's for sure. But that is your interior. And let's go ahead and give you the review score. Honestly, this ship here is an 88 out of 100, and it's a fantastic looking boat. It's done a lot better than it has in prior updates, so it is almost back, or it is back to its former glory. You will have to let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the Drake Corsair now that it's gotten its weapons back for the pilot? Even if the weapon sizes went down a little bit for a couple of them, I think it's fantastic. I think it's going to help people, have their love reignited for this ship. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for being here. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.